Today it's all about my favorite perfume brand, Profumum Roma. Hi everyone, I'm Jolima. Welcome back to my channel, Scented Moments, where we discuss everything about fragrances. So firstly, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and are enjoying the holiday season. So because we are in holidays and because this was the Christmas week, I was not able to upload any video, but we are back on track again and we are diving into my favorite perfume brand ever, Profumum Roma. Now, if you're following me for a while, I mean, you know that this brand is really my all-time favorite fragrance brand, and actually I already recorded a video where I discussed the brand. Like, this was like what, 4 or 5 years ago, a long time ago, and still I am a big fan, and more so than ever. So in that video where I did like an overview of Profumum Roma as a brand, I had, I think, between 8 to 10 fragrances. And I also showcased the ones that I wanted to buy and so on. And now I have 24 fragrances from the brand, and I think maybe I want to add a couple more eventually, but not in a rush. I really have the ones that I just love, some more underrated than others, and I will be discussing the fragrances in no specific order. I might say though more at the end of the video which one are my favorite, like my top 5, although it's incredibly hard, but I will try. So let's get started. So Profumum Roma was founded in 1996 by the Durante family, and it's still currently family owned by Durante family, by the new generation. And Profumum Roma is known as an Italian brand, and it's known for their rich, bold, long-lasting fragrances. Profumum Roma started as doing like a soliflor type of fragrances, like each fragrance is based on a specific note and which they would enhance, and then it will be just supported by other notes, but definitely the main note would be that specific one. For example, which we'll be discussing, patchouli. They have one patchouli, they have one about fig, they have one about aquatic, although it's not exactly like a note, but it's in a genre. The same happens with ambers, although amber is more of an accord than a note, but they also have amazing amber fragrances. So they really want to enhance either a genre, either an accord or note, and they do it to perfection in my view. So without further ado, let's first start off with one fragrance that I just adore. Now again, this will not be in a specific order. I will just mention more by the end of the video, and this will be a long video. I will mention my top 5 more at the end of the video. Now, the first one, I think we should start off. I have here one, but I think it's good to start off with the fragrance that started everything, that started my journey with this brand. And it was the amazing and incredibly underrated Fiore d'Ambra. It all started here with Fiore d'Ambra. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. And Fiore d'Ambra, it was love at first sniff. It was, for me, the introduction to the brand, and what an introduction it was. Fiore d'Ambra, it's one of the most underrated ambers overall out there. It's overshadowed by another one, which we will talk about later on. So Fiore d'Ambra, it's like a floral of amber, or amber floral. Now this definitely has a floral accord here, and it's the opium. It has like an opium floral feel into it, and it has this narcotic nuance into it. It's very unique. It's narcotic. It definitely has this narcotic / tea effect, and followed by this gooey, resinous, very heavy, thick amber, like a amber, syrupy amber. It's amazing. It's a very unique amber. I never smelled any amber like this. And yes, and it's very underrated. Oh, so good. It's like immediately you have this narcotic nuance, this floral narcotic, tea-like almost, with this very gooey, syrupy, thick, sweet amber. It's so good. Fiore d'Ambra for me was wow, what is this? And this was early on my fragrance journey while I was discovering niche. I was already familiarized with niche back then, but I think this was really the turning point especially while discovering Profumum Roma. So yes, Fiore d'Ambra. It's not for everyone because of this floral narcotic nuance might not be for everyone, but it's definitely not a standard, like just sweet amber. So that's why I love this, long lasting, and it's one that I highly advise for you to try. Now this was released in 2004, and as I said in the beginning, like the Profumum Roma was founded in 1996, where niche, as we know it, niche perfumery was not even spoken about, was not even known. Even in that regard, this is a brand with heritage, with perfume heritage, and it's something that I really value. And they are also a type of brand that they don't release fragrances like year after year, like 10 fragrances per year. No, they really consider it's a thoughtful process, and that's what I love the most about this brand. And they always deliver high quality fragrances. Now, of course, I will not love all of them, it's impossible, but I can see the quality, I can appreciate the quality, and the smell itself, simply not for me. There are many which you will see during the video. But yes, Fiore d'Ambra, highly advise for you to check this one out if you have yet to. If you are searching for a more unique take of an amber, this one is one that you should try. The next fragrance that I have from Profumum Roma, I mean, it's a very popular one, and it's the best lemon fragrance ever made. Acqua Viva, and you see the dent here. It's one of my most worn fragrances from the brand. Acqua Viva, I mean, it's really ridiculous, the dent already. Bear in mind, I have almost 600 fragrances. And I have many from Profumum Roma, so I mean, this says how good and how versatile this is. So it's literally smells like lemon. It literally smells like you just squeeze the lemon inside the bottle and you have Acqua Viva. Incredibly long lasting, and it's definitely the most long lasting citrus lemon fragrance that I ever experienced. And this shines in the summer. This screams spring and summer. More summer, I would say. And this has all the dimensions of the lemon. It's a bit acid, it's bitter, it has a sweet edge, I would say, and it's just so realistic. Highly advise for you to try this one. The best lemon fragrance ever created is Acqua Viva. And the next one, it's the best aquatic fragrance ever created, and this is my most worn fragrance from Profumum Roma, and I dare to say it's my most complimented fragrance also from the brand, my beloved Acqua di Sale. Now this is a limited edition bottle. I think this is from 2019. No, not 2019. Actually, now I'm forgetting when this was. Maybe 2021. It's around that. It's between 2019 to 2021. It's between those years. This is again a limited edition bottle. Every year they have a limited edition bottle of Acqua di Sale. This was released in 1996, so one of the first fragrances created by the brand, and I would say that this is their best seller, or at least is the most popular in Italy. It's Acqua di Sale, and actually, fun enough, when I went to Milan and earlier this year to Essence, I smelled Acqua di Sale. I mean, maybe it's not Acqua di Sale, it could have been another fragrance. That there are a couple fragrances that are inspired by Acqua di Sale, also Italian brands. One of them is Cartusia. It's a very affordable brand, very affordable perfumes, and actually great quality, to be fair. But they have one, I think it's Mediterraneo, if I'm not mistaken, which is basically a copy or heavily inspired by Acqua di Sale. And actually it's really well done, to be fair, for a fraction of the price. I mean, they retail for about 100 euros, 105 euros for 100 ml. Profumum Roma, it's also price. It's something that you need to consider. Profumum Roma fragrances are not cheap, and unfortunately they are not readily available. But the price is for 100 ml like this is 200, and it's in between 250 to 300 depending on the fragrance. It's very expensive. Back in the day when I discovered the brand, their fragrances were 219 euros. Still not cheap back then, but not 250 or 300. Now they also have, they also sell, I think it's 18 ml. It's basically travel size, which is quite good actually. The price is 98 euros if I'm not mistaken. So it's a good alternative, although, well, it's 18 ml, so it's not that great, but still it's better than nothing. And oh, I just discovered it's here. This is the 2018 edition, not 2019. 2018 edition. It's right here. But yeah, so they have that option of the, I think it's 18 ml sizes. In the end, 18 ml really gives you a lot because they are all highly concentrated, all long lasting, and you need to go very heavy on the trigger actually. So it's 18 ml is actually a good alternative. But yes, so they are not cheap, but there's the fragrance itself, they also don't smell cheap. So yeah, Acqua di Sale, I mean, I don't know if you can see it here, but the liquid is like, the level is less than half already. I mean, this is my go-to summer fragrance. This is the one that I always wear. And if you check out all my summer lists of previous years, I always mention Acqua di Sale, always. Either it's in a list, either it's just an honorable mention, because in the end, I'm always using and I want to highlight other fragrances, but in the end, this is my go-to summer fragrance. Scream Summer. It's the most realistic marine aquatic fragrance. Very salty, musky, very sexy in my opinion. This literally smells like you fill this bottle with ocean water with a bit of cedarwood chopsticks inside. It's exactly how this smells. It's so good. And in the dry down and the sillage, it's so sexy again. It has this musky, like dry skin when you are leaving the beach and you have the salt on your skin and you feel like a bit of a ocean smell from your skin. It's how this smells, the dry down, and in the air as well. So good. Highly advise for you to check this one out. I absolutely adore this one. One of my all-time favorite fragrances ever, Acqua di Sale. Now, another thing to keep in mind about Profumum Roma is that they barely reformulate their fragrances, and when they do reformulate, they communicate that, which is also a thing that I really praise a lot. I have to say that they don't have many reformulated fragrances. The time when they really needed to reformulate a couple of them, including Jose Mundi, for example, which is one that I don't appreciate. They reformulated that one because of the molecule liliol, which was banned a few years ago, so they needed to reformulate Jose Mundi, and I think there was a couple of others which I now don't recall that they needed to reformulate. But it's so you will be informed, and it's something also that I praised, and also the quality you don't detect. It's not obvious, to be fair. It's not that obvious. They really do a great job with their reformulations. And so the next fragrance that I want to talk about is this one, Dulcis In Fundo. Now, bear in mind, you see the color of the liquid, this dark amber color, right? This was yellow. This was like, almost like Acqua Viva. You see this yellow color? Yeah. It was Dulcis In Fundo when I first bought it, and now completely turned because of vanillin. So vanillin is a molecule that is extracted from vanilla. And of course this has vanilla, and it's amazing. This fragrance is one of my favorite gourmand fragrances ever. Now, as you can see, I already bought this one long time ago. Also around 2018, 2019 when I bought it. My fiance adores this one as well. She also uses it. But I'm the one who wore it the most. But Dulcis In Fundo, it's so basically, it's a gourmand fragrance, I would say, but a fresh gourmand fragrance. This has a blast of a cocktail of citruses like lemon, orange, tangerine with vanilla. And it's so delicious, but never overwhelming, never overly sweet nor sugary. This is really gourmand done to perfection for the summertime. For me, this more comes across as like a orange cake, which is incredibly unique, and it's so well done. This is one of the best vanilla fragrances that I ever smelled, to be fair. It's amazing. It's really fantastic, very addicting, very decadent, but again, not overly sweet, not sugary, just done right. Dulcis In Fundo, again, it's amazing how it turned the color, but the smell still is amazing. And the performance is equally good, like all Profumum Roma fragrances. So yes, Dulcis In Fundo is one that I highly recommend you to try, especially if you're searching for a gourmand for the summertime. The next fragrance that I have that I adore is Arso. Now, Arso actually was a recent addition. I think I bought this last year. I think it was last year when I bought Arso 2023. And Arso is an amazing woody fragrance, an incensey woody fragrance that goes in the realm of Fiore by Serge Lutens. But Serge Lutens is more piney, I would say. It's a bit more piney and a bit more dark. And this one is lighter and more heavy in the woods and the incense. Yeah, and this one is more dry, I would say. This one is more dry, while Fiore, which I have in the original bottle, Fiore is a bit more resinous as well and more piney. Here, you can detect the piney quality, but it's more dry, a bit more cedarwood, more sandalwood. So in the end, more woodsy overall. And although you can feel a bit of a resinous nuance, but I would say that it's definitely more dry when compared to Fiore. Oh man, this is fantastic. This screams fall. For me, this screams fall. Whilst Fiore, it's like Christmas in a bottle, this one is more fall in a bottle. Now, as you see, like, this is not a copy, far from being a copy of Fiore, but it's just in that category of woodsy, piney, resinous, smoky, incensey type of fragrances, but still with differences between Fiore. So, and I think Arso, it's one of the best from Profumum Roma also, and definitely one of the best woodsy fragrances overall. Amazing. If you're searching for pure woodsy fragrance for the fall, this one is the one for you. And the performance, again, very long lasting. So it's Arso by, of course, Profumum Roma. The next fragrance, it's one that I also added recently to my collection. I mean, also during the 2023 year. And it was one that I wanted to have in my collection since forever. And this one is Battito D'Ali, Beating of Wings. And Battito D'Ali, it was released in 2010. Now you can see here the year when each fragrance was released. So this one, Battito D'Ali, was released in 2010. You can see, for example, Dulcis In Fundo. It was released in 2001. You have Acqua Viva, which was released in 2006. So all the bottles have the year when they were released. And Battito D'Ali, this is a very, very unique fragrance in my view. This is all about orange blossom, myrrh, a bit of cocoa powder, and vanilla. So good. It's delicate. It's a bit ethereal, but with a lot of character. I mean, the myrrh with the vanilla really gives a lot of depth and body and soul to this fragrance. And this is done to perfection. It's a wonderful, wonderful perfume. I never smelled anything like this, to be fair. Another unique creation. So what I'm saying, Profumum Roma is, for me, Profumum Roma translates to perfume heritage. And they don't focus on trends. Or they didn't. We will discuss about that more in the end. And so Battito D'Ali, for me, it's perfect for spring and summer. Also, you can wear it during the fall time because of the cocoa powder, the vanilla, and the myrrh. The myrrh here, I think it's where it shines the most, where the fragrance really shines the most. It has this thick, resinous, almost like meditative feeling to it, with the orange blossom that gives like a very uplifting, ethereal quality. Just magical. Highly advise for you to try this one. And the performance also, it's really, really good, very long lasting again, and it's one that for me it's also a staple more for spring and summer. It's Battito D'Ali by, of course, Profumum Roma. Now the next fragrance is the most daring fragrance from the brand, and I have this one. I also added it in 2023 if I'm not mistaken, and this one I just wore it like a couple times and you will see it's basically full. And the fragrance is none other than Fumidus. Look at the color of this beast. Now this was also released in 1996, so it's one of the original fragrances created by the brand when they were firstly established. Fumidus is a burning, smoky, dry, woodsy fragrance. This literally smells like burning woods, or burning forests. And if you're able to handle like the opening and the heart of the fragrance, in the end you have an amazing natural smelling vetiver. It's fantastic, really. And this is also should have as well like a boozy whiskey accord. I don't get that. Some people do. I don't get that, which I would love to because I love my boozy accords. But here I just get smoke, burning woods. It's all I get. When then in the dry down, one of the most amazing vetiver notes that I experienced. But yes, this, because of that, it's not versatile at all. You really need to be in the mood to wear this type of fragrance. And I just have it because it's Profumum Roma, because Profumum Roma is my favorite brand. I love the artistic side of this fragrance, but again, it's not one that I wore that often. But it's one that I really appreciate, and I'm happy that Profumum Roma still produces this one. And so yes, Fumidus is one that I highly advise for you to try if you want to more daring, dark, smoky, woodsy fragrances. It's one that I advise it to try. And the next fragrance, this fragrance also I added very recently to my collection. Again, I think 2023 or 2022, between those 2 years. But it's not one that I immediately was in love. It's one that I took some time, although this was, I don't know if still is, but this was one of the most popular fragrances from the brand like a few years ago, and it is none other than Acqua di Sale. Literally water and sugar. And it's literally how this smells. This one has like a fruity, like berry feel. This is a very playful fragrance, incredibly playful. I would love to wear this during the summertime, like summer evenings. And this, it's literally a sugary water with some berry fruits. It's how this smells. Now, a lot of people compare this to Pink Sugar, and funny enough, Pink Sugar was released in 2003. And as you can see from the bottle here, this was released in 2002, a year prior to Pink Sugar. So this came out first. This is not a copy of Pink Sugar. But yes, because of Pink Sugar, it's way more popular than Acqua di Sale ever was. And because it's a very small fraction of the price. So of course, a lot of people know Pink Sugar. And when you are wearing this one, oh, you smell like Pink Sugar. Although every time I wore this, I never got that comment. I received a few compliments this year while wearing this one, but none of them thought, oh, this smells like Pink Sugar. No, it's just smells good, smells sexy, smells sensual, smells playful. This literally is summer evenings for me. Oh, it's really good. I mean, for what it is, it's really good. Now, of course, you can say that this is overpriced. I mean, 250 euros to smell like this. I mean, of course, I definitely understand that, but I'm a lover of the brand. So for me, this is a great fragrance, not a masterpiece, but it's still a great fragrance. Again, it's amazing for what it is, for being like a playful scent, and for what it represents. I think it's really well done, to be fair. So it's Acqua di Sale by Profumum Roma. The next fragrance, this was love at first sniff as well. Now I have this one for longer. This one is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, fig fragrance, fig/fig leaf. It is Ichnusa. And you see already the dent. Ichnusa, it's also spring staple. It's green, it's realistic, and it literally, oh man, it's so good. It has like a milkiness, because this has the fig leaf and the fig fruit. It's a very well balanced fig fragrance overall, with the green fig leaf and that milky fig fruit, and it's just to die for. And you also have like a grassy quality in here that enhances the green aspect of this fragrance. This literally smells like you are under a fig tree near the Mediterranean Sea. It's exactly how this smells. It's that good. it really transports you to a happy day, a happy location, and you just feel good with yourself. It's an uplifting fragrance in the end, and it's one that I really cherish. And again, for me, my favorite fig fragrance overall, and it's one that I highly advise of you to try if you have yet to. And again, the performance, incredible, incredible. Overshadows any other fig fragrance in my view. It's Ichnusa, and this was released in the year 2000. This was around when, for example, Filosico was released, for example. So this is really a trendsetter in terms of fig fragrances, I would say. The next fragrance, this is one of my all-time favorite incense fragrances, and this competes directly with Eau Sacrée by Healy, and you can see how good Eau Sacrée from Healy is. If it's competing with this beauty, it is Olibanum. And this was released in 2006. Now, this one is all about incense, frankincense, and it's basically all I get. It's really good. It's so realistic, such a natural smelling frankincense. Literally smells like burning frankincense is how this smells. It's a bit cold. It has a cold quality, but as it dries down, it gets a bit more resinous. But the opening and the development, which is not much, it's more cold, more on the colder side, and then gets warm and more resinous. It's magical, magical. This is incense done to perfection. This is really incense done to perfection. So is Eau Sacrée by Healy. Very underrated, that one. So is Olibanum by Profumum Roma. And you see also, I wear this a lot. I have this already for 3-4 years, I would say, and it's one that I love to wear more in the colder weather. It's Olibanum by Profumum Roma. The next fragrance, this is a spring staple. It is Orangea. And this is one of their, I would say recent releases, but this has almost 10 years. This was released in 2015, as you can see here. So Orangea is, like the name implies, orange / orange blossom / petit crème, and it's as realistic as it can get. It's crazy. It literally smells like you're under an orange blossom tree, simply put. It's really, it just makes me smile because it's also very uplifting. It's floral, it has this white floral quality, orangey, green, woody. It's just magical. You need to try this one. This is one that I really advise you to try. It's not a hard to wear, hard to appreciate fragrance. No, this is one that everyone should try because it's that good. For me, this is the best interpretation of an orange blossom. It's this. It's Orangea. So good. Please do try this. This is a spring staple for me, and it's one that I highly advise for you to try, not only for the smell itself, but also because of the performance. Try this one if you have yet to, Orangea. Now the next two fragrances, I would say that are the ones that are more similar to existing and pre-existing fragrances. So the first one is Audace. And you see also nice den here. So Audace also released in 2015. Now this one is similar to Vetiver Tonka by Hermès from the Hermès Essence collection. And Vetiver Tonka came out in the early 2000s, like by mid 2000s, I would say, created by Jean-Claude Ellena. And Audace was released like basically 10 years after Vetiver Tonka. And it's similar because it has vetiver, of course, it has a tonka bean, it has the myrrh. And in Vetiver Tonka, I think, or I don't recall if you have myrrh, but you definitely have vetiver and tonka beans. Now, I would say that the difference is performance, one, and second, I would say that this has more depth. I mean, it's more of a full-bodied fragrance because of the myrrh. The myrrh here really gives a very muscle quality to the fragrance. The vetiver here is a high-quality vetiver. I mean, overall, this is a high-quality fragrance, high-quality vetiver with a gourmandish touch, and gourmandish and resinous touch. And I would say that I slightly prefer Audace because of the depth, because of the performance, and of course because of the quality. But also I would not mind to have Vetiver Tonka because it's a bit more transparent. It has the Jean-Claude Ellena style DNA, like more transparent, slightly more clean when compared with Audace. But I think it's worth having both, and I definitely plan to add Vetiver Tonka. But I'm really happy with Audace, and I was very happy with Audace since I bought it, basically. And it's one that if you are searching more for performance and you will not sacrifice quality, I think Audace is the one for you. Because in the end it has more complexity, I would say. It's a bit more complex and a bit more layered when compared to Vetiver Tonka. Nonetheless, both are fantastic, and I really advise for you to check by yourself both Audace and Vetiver Tonka. The next fragrance, so like I said when I was talking about Audace, that Audace is a bit inspired and it has similarities at least with Vetiver Tonka by Hermes, and this one, Antico Caruso, has some resemblance to Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal, but it's like Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal meets Reflection Man by Amouage. Now, Reflection Man by Amouage was released way after Antico Caruso. Antico Caruso, as you can see here, was released in 2001, and Reflection Man by Amouage, which I have in Adore, was released in 2007. Now, Antico Caruso has that quality of Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mal. It has this powdery sweetness, and this lavender. It has a fougère barbershop nuance that Le Mal also has, adding tons of sweetness. But here it's a bit more toned down, despite being sweet, yes, but it's a bit more toned down. And it has more of a powdery floral aspect where you can smell in Reflection Man. I think this really falls in between. So you have in one hand Le Mal, which is very playful, very well known. And in the other hand, you have Reflection Man, which is also often compared to Le Mal, although with Reflection Man, I see less the comparison. I see more here the comparison with Le Mal than Reflection Man itself. But I would say that this really sits in the middle, with Reflection Man being more elegant, more upscale, a bit more floral, more sparkly. And I would say that this sits in the middle. It has still the sweetness that I can't detect much in Reflection Man, but here you can detect the sweetness that you can find in Le Mal, not as intense, but it's more prominent here. But this has an extra layer of floral, lavender, and powdery aspects. So I would say that this really sits in the middle between those two fragrances. So in that regard, this is not the most unique fragrance from the brand. Again, it's one that smells great. I mean, smells great, but you will get reminded of Le Mal a bit, I would say. Yeah, you will have the image of Le Mal, although not being the same, and frankly being superior, but you will get still the image. So if you're not a fan of Le Mal, you will not like this one, I believe. If you're a fan of Reflection Man, I think you can appreciate this one. It's a bit more playful than Reflection Man, but still more elegant, definitely more elegant and more refined than Le Mal itself. It's one that I really advise for you to try, although I would say that it's the least unique fragrance from Profumum Roma, although I have it. Actually, I added this one last year as well. And it's one that I really advise you to try. And the performance is fantastic. Again, it's Antico Caruso by Profumum Roma. The next fragrance, it's a darling. It's the best amber fragrance ever created. It's Ambra Aurea. Now you see, like, the cap here, it's a bit messed up because I traveled with this bottle one time to Lithuania, and although it was quite sealed and wrapped, but still it had a small leak, and that's why, like, then here the letters of the cap, they faded, they disappeared, unfortunately. That's another thing that it's a topic that I will brought up a bit later on in the video regarding the presentation itself. But Ambra Aurea is the best amber fragrance ever created. Now, this was released in 1998. So it's around, it's been around for a lot of time, a long time. And this is all about amber. So it's that sweet, thick, resinous, gooey, dense amber with ambergris. And it has this buttery, salty edge into it. It's a magical fragrance, magical fragrance. And in terms of performance, is the one that projects and lasts the most. I mean, all Profumum Roma fragrances last and project. This one goes into the next level, and you really need to go easy on the trigger, because I think I just got one real negative comment while wearing a fragrance, and it was with Ambra Aurea. A long time ago, I catch the bus. I was still living here in Lisbon. I was still working at the office, and I wore Ambra Aurea. It was during the winter time, but I kind of oversprayed it. And when I went to the bus, I mean, the lady, she was sitting next to me, and she just left saying, "Oh my God, it smells a lot of perfume." And she left. So yeah, that was a negative comment, and I would say that it was the only negative comment that I got. And yeah, it was with my beloved Ambra Aurea. It's a magical fragrance. I love it to bits. It's my favorite, again, my favorite amber. It's the best in the market. Natural smelling, long lasting. It's very cozy at the same time, because it has this warm amberiness that I just adore, and feels like a warm blanket wrapping you during the cold days. And it's just perfection. I highly advise you to try this one. It's one of the best fragrances from Profumum Roma. It's Ambra Aurea. The next fragrance, it's one of the best sandalwood fragrances, but I think this is the time, it's that rare time that I would say it's not my favorite sandalwood fragrance, but nonetheless, it's one that I really suggest you to try. It's Santalum. And this was released in 2003. So Santalum, it's all about sandalwood, but it's a very dry, spicy sandalwood. It's not your creamy, milky, sweet sandalwood. No, this is very dry, borderline aggressive sandalwood. Now, the reason why this is not currently my favorite is just because I kind of prefer more creamy sandalwoods. Like, for example, the sandalwood at what's the name, Lorenzo Villoresi Sandalo. It's currently my favorite sandalwood at the moment, because it's creamy. It has that creamy sandalwood, a bit floral, and it's very natural smell, very realistic sandalwood. Of course, I don't know if they are using real sandalwood, but to me, the most important thing in a fragrance is that if it has a natural smelling feel, and if it's realistic. And for me, it's my type of sandalwood. Now, if you are into sandalwoods, like for example Thundra by Diptyque, which is also considered one of the best sandalwood fragrances out there. I have it actually in the Eau de Parfum, which is the best concentration of Thundra. It goes more in this direction, and I would say that this takes it to the next level. Thundra, it's very dry and cedary, like cedar wood, and this goes in that realm, more dry, a bit more cedary, and very spicy. This is very, very spicy. So this might not be for everyone. Oh yes, it's very dry. I think this is the most dry, woodsy fragrance that I ever smelled, and uber spicy, like peppery, very, very peppery. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. It's really one of the best sandalwoods in my view, but it's not my favorite because of this type of sandalwood. Because I prefer more creamy sandalwoods. Nonetheless, this is a reference to me in terms of sandalwood. Really well done. It's Santalum by Profumum Roma. The next fragrance, I mean, doesn't need any introduction. Also, it's my favorite Patchouly. Patchouly by Profumum Roma, of course. This was released in 2004. Now, it has already 20 years. And it's still the best Patchouly fragrance out there. Not sandalwood, patchouli. And this doesn't have any sandalwood, at least not to my nose. This is all about patchouli and a bit of myrrh. Now the patchouli here is your typical like earthy, dark, chocolatey, cakey patchouli with a bit of a resinous nuance that gives a bit more depth and more oomph to the fragrance. And patchouli is just magical. This is the most natural smelling patchouli. This is the best interpretation of a patchouli fragrance that I ever smelled. Now, Might not be for everyone, because in the end this is a linear fragrance, just like almost the entire line of Profumum Roma. They are quite linear, and so some people do not like that. For me, I don't see any issues with that, and they do it to perfection. Natural smelling patchouli in this case, as good as it can get in a perfume. Performance is insane. It's like Ambra Aurea. Ambra Aurea and Fumidus, like all Profumum Roma fragrances last for a very long time. They are highly concentrated perfumes, and the quality is just incredible. Like you will not find this anywhere. Now you have a lot of patchouli fragrances within this category. For example, Patchouly by Reminiscence, which I love. It's my second favorite patchouli fragrance actually. Just falls a bit behind because of depth, and also because of performance. But in terms of patchouli, it's in the same realm. You also have Psychedelique by Jovoy, which is also a chocolatey cakey patchouli, which is good, but this takes it into the next level. So it's one, if you love patchouli, this is a must-have, not just a must-try, it's a must-have. And also, it's one of my most complimented fragrances from Profumum Roma. Not my most complimented, that's for Acqua di Sale, but actually I received quite a few compliments with patchouli, funny enough. So yes, highly advise for you to try this one. It's the best patchouli ever created. It's patchouli. Next fragrance, it's my favorite, or one of my all-time favorite gourmand fragrances, definitely my favorite chocolate fragrance. It is Sorriso. And you see also the dent. This literally smells like chocolate pudding with a touch of an orange peel on top. It's exactly how this smells. Realistic. You also have vanilla in here, and it's mouth-watering, and it's so decadent, so sexy. It's one that my fiance adores as well. She always compliments me when I'm wearing this one. Oh, so good. Yeah, it's very creamy, vanillic, chocolatey with that orange peel. It's just to die for. Linear, again, very linear. What you get in the opening is what you will get in the dry down. The performance is fantastic, and yeah, it's one of the best gourmand fragrances ever created, and I would say it's the best chocolate fragrance out there. It's Sorriso by Profumum Roma. Sorriso, smile. It really brings a smile every time I smell this one. Amazing, amazing, amazing perfume. And this was released in 2013, so it's been around for 11 years. Sorriso. If you have a sweet tooth and you're looking for a chocolate fragrance, this is the one. And I believe that you might finish your journey in terms of finding a chocolate fragrance. Sorriso, it's just magical. Now I have I have 4 more fragrances to talk about within this line, signature line of Profumum Roma. Now 3 of the fragrances that I have they are currently in Vilnius. And the other one will be an unboxing, because it's one that I just bought, and it will be featured on my massive fragrance haul that I have yet to upload. But before going into those fragrances, I want to briefly mention the Note de Profumo line from Profumum Roma. Very, very underrated line in my view. And these are 40% also concentrated with perfume oil, and these are different. These are not your typical linear Profumum Roma fragrances. These have a bit more complexity, I would say. They are more blended, although they say that, so Note de Profumo, it's just focused on a specific note, but to my nose and to my experience, these are much more layered and more blended than the ones from the signature collection. So Note de Profumo, I have here Luce and Amante. This one right here. This one right here. I don't know if you can see it, but yes, they have Luce. I have Luce and Amante. You also have like In Atomo, which is a very fresh fragrance. Very hard to describe actually, but it's just fresh. It's okay. Then you have one called Meraviglia, I think it's the name, which is basically heavily inspired by Portrait of a Lady, with some twists, high quality fragrance, and cheaper than Portrait of a Lady currently, comparing the 100 ml between the two. I think these are 100 ml bottles, and the price is, I think it's 290 euros, whilst 100 ml by Portrait of a Lady is over 300 euros. And they have a few others, but this line is definitely more slept on, and it's one that really doesn't get much attention, and it's one that really, if the signature line of Profumum Roma it's not widely distributed, this is even less. Now, Luce, it's very powdery, and oh yeah, and lots of cedar, like cedar wood. It really has like powdery notes, and a bit creamy, and tons of cedar wood. It's unique, I would say it's unique. And then you have Amante, which is my favorite actually, Amante. So Amante is quite similar. I mean, I will not say similar. No, I will not say similar because it's different, but it goes in that genre of Black Afgano, Laudanum Nero. It's in that dark, woodsy, smoky genre. And this is the only fragrance from Profumum Roma featuring oud, which is another thing that they don't have. In their signature line, they don't have any oud fragrance. And the oud here, it's more of a Western oud. I mean, you can smell it, it's definitely here, but it's not your heavy, medicinal, funky, barnyardy oud, no. And it has some lavender in here also on top. It's dark, earthy, and woodsy. It's really nice, actually. I would say that this is very sexy. I would also say that this is the best from this line overall. I like Luce, but it's the powderiness of it that for me it was quite intriguing. That's why I bought it. It's quite intriguing with that creamy vanillic cedar wood. But I would say that my favorite is Amante, and I would say that overall within this line Amante is the best. And I would say, I think also it's the best seller from this Note de Profumum line, and I completely see why. It really adds more depth, and it's more intriguing than Nasomato's Black Afgano. Don't get me wrong, I don't have it, but I actually want to have it in my collection for reference sake. I think it's a trendsetter fragrance. I have Laudanum Nero by Tiziana Trenzi, which is a very resinous, ashy take on that DNA. This one is the most elegant take of this DNA. It's amazing, man. I love this one. Very, very sexy fragrance and very long lasting. It's Amante by Profumum Roma from this Note de Profumum line. And so with that being said, let's now talk about the 4 fragrances missing from the signature collection. So the next one is Dolci Pensieri. Now, Dolci Pensieri was recently released like in 2021, and it was love at first sniff, although I didn't purchase it immediately. I purchased actually just this year. And Dolci Pensieri is a decadent, jammy rose. It's so good. It's incredibly sexy. It's not unique, but it's a fantastic jammy rose. And I would dare to say that it has some oud in there, but it's not listed as an oud. Maybe it's patchouli. But it definitely has like a dark woodiness in there, but the main player is this vanillic, jammy, decadent rose. It's just perfect. It's the perfect jammy rose out there. Then you have another fragrance that it's amazing. It's a summer staple called Neroli. And Neroli is nothing more than an eau de cologne on steroids. So eau de cologne fragrances, they do not last, simply, which is unfortunate. The only fragrance that has a good longevity on my skin is actually from Chanel, the eau de cologne, which I already talked about previously. But Neroli takes it to the next level, both in terms of longevity and projection. It's amazing. It's, of course, it's an eau de cologne, natural smelling eau de cologne style fragrance, an Italian style eau de cologne, which is fantastic. And the other one that I have is Thundra. Thundra, it's very underrated. It's a patchouli fragrance, but with a heavy musk note. Very, very musky fragrance with an earthy patchouli in the base. But the musk is the one that it's the most prominent. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. And it's, of course, It falls in the shadows of Patchouly, but I would say that Thundra deserves a mention and deserves more attention. It's amazing. It's very versatile. I would say very elegant, and again, long-lasting. And it's one that definitely deserves the mention and to be tried. Now, last but by no means least, this is the latest acquisition from the brand, and it is Gioiosa. Gioiosa was released last year, and Gioiosa is the best vanilla fragrance of Profumum Roma. It's one of the best from it's one of the best vanilla fragrances that I smelled. Now, is it better than Toyota? I would say no at this moment, because I still do not have much experience with Gioiosa. Although I sampled it, I finished my sample, and that's why I have a full bottle of. But for the time being, at the time that I'm recording this video, I would say that Toyota is still superior, but this is not very far off. And finally, they have a good vanilla fragrance. Now, Profumum Roma, they have still one vanilla fragrance called Vanitas, which is kind of popular, but somehow doesn't work for me. It's basically vanilla. I think it has some floral nuances and myrrh, but doesn't work for me. It's too plasticky for me. Very plastic vanilla on my skin, unfortunately. And I was very disappointed because they have so many great vanilla notes used in their fragrances. Thinking of Dulcis In Fundo, thinking of Sorriso and Battito D'Ali. And when they tried to do like a soliflor vanilla, it was very, very disappointing. But they fixed it. They fixed it with Gioiosa, released last year. So this is the presentation of Profumum Roma. Very simple, I would say. So you have this sleeve that you can take off. Then you have the box like so. Very simple. Then you take off the box. And here, so here you have nothing. And here you have this information regarding the brand that you can take off. And then you have this cover, this foam cover you can take, and here you have the bottle. It's amazing. So here is Gioiosa. Now I will just take it off. So it comes like that. So this is the full bottle, man. Beautiful color. And as you notice, here you have a roll-on. All Profumum Roma fragrances, they come with a roll-on because they are so concentrated that you can just roll. And you can actually, a lot of people say that you should not do like this movement every time you spray because it will ruin the molecules, the opening. You can do it. You can do that. You can rub your wrists when you are spraying Profumum Roma because they are super oily, very concentrated. So here is, so you take this off, and then you have like this instrument, which I now don't recall how you say in English, where you can put inside the roll-on. And then you have the spray here, because this is a decanter. All the bottles are decanters. And now the issue that I have with that, because although it's very nice, very unique, but the issue that I have is the shipping is a pain. Because their bottles, as you see, I will just show Fumidus. So this is how, see, this is a decanter. Now to ship this one, these bottles, it's very hard, because there's a high risk that they will leak during the trip. So that's why I still keep my Profumum Roma collection here in Lisbon, because I'm genuinely afraid of what will happen. And also because the bottles, I mean, while they are nice and they feel a bit thin, they are not very thick. And I'm always afraid what can happen. So, and I already have a few bitter moments with perfumes, as you all know, when shipping perfumes and traveling with perfumes. So yes, that's why like I still have the majority of my Profumum Roma collection here. But I will take Gioiosa with me because it's still sealed, and you see like they always seal, for you to know, they all come like with this seal so it will not leak. But with all the others, I really need to be careful, and I need to really think how I will ship them to Vilnius, which will not be this time, unfortunately. But Gioiosa, again, this is all about vanilla. It's a milky vanilla fragrance done to perfection. Some people compare this to Bianco Latte by Gritti, which was released, I think it was released prior to Gioiosa, a year prior to Gioiosa. But, man, this is much superior. Of course, I'm biased, I assume that, but this is one of the best vanilla fragrances ever. It's so sexy, so sexy. And as you see here, it was released in 2023. Amazing, amazing, amazing vanilla. Already one of my top vanilla fragrances. It's how good Gioiosa is. Now, another thing, just to wrap up the video, which is already incredibly long, and thank you for sticking with me. Now, it's about the future of Profumum Roma. Now, for now, this will be family-owned brand, which is great. However, I'm not a big fan of their latest releases. Now, with the exception of Dolci Pensieri and of course Gioiosa, they released another one called Vir, that Vir is like Black Afghano, simply put. While Amante has more layers and is a bit more, definitely more elegant, more mysterious. Vir is Black Afghano. To my nose, smells like Black Afghano. They have then another one which is called D'Incanto. D'Incanto is one that I may purchase because it's Patchouly. And now it's another Patchouly, and they already have Thundra, they have Patchouly, and so D'Incanto is Patchouly, like a very heavy, thick fragrance. It's a very heavy fragrance. It costs 300 euros. So not cheap. Actually, Gioiosa also costs 300 euros. And D'Incanto was released like a couple years ago, 2022 or 2023, 2022 or 2023. And so it's basically a heavy patchouli fragrance, but different from patchouli. It's earthy, not as chocolatey as the one used in patchouli. So it's a bit lighter in that regard. It's not as dark, not as chocolatey, but it's still earthy. And I would say that it's a patchouli, the same type of patchouli used in Thundra, much more enhanced. More earthy, it's a bit more woodsy, not as chocolatey. Very enhanced. And then you have a bit of mandarin orange, you have a bit of a gardenia, musk, tonka beans, myrrh. So it's a fragrance that it's very different. Both, I would say Vir as well. Both Vir and D'Incanto are very different from the heritage of Profumum Roma as a brand, because they are more blended. They are blended, and you can see the changes, something that it's very rare to see in Profumum Roma fragrances. It seems like this new generation of Durante, they want to change the direction of Profumum Roma in the way that they want to blend more, to add more layers and complexity, maintaining the performance and the quality, but at the same time feels a bit weird, if that makes sense. And so, like I said, like D'Incanto smells amazing, but I'm not sure. I'm still not sure, because I love the opening. It's this mandarin orange with the patchouli, but also changes in a way that I'm not convinced. It's powdery. It has a tonka bean that gives like an almondy quality. I don't know. I still need to try a few more times. And in terms of patchouli, I mean, it's not better than patchouli of Profumum Roma. So yes, I'm skeptical. I'm still giving the benefit of the doubt, because again, they released an amazing vanilla fragrance, and they released an amazing jammy rose fragrance. The issue is that although they are amazing, some of the best in their genres, but they are not unique. Something that Profumum Roma had from the most part. So yes, I'm skeptical, giving the benefit of the doubt. I really hope the next release is more unique. It's something really new and that keeps the heritage intact from the brand. Let's see. let's see what the future holds, and let's see what will be their new release for next year, if they have one. I believe they will have at least one release. So let's see, guys. Also, I was forgetting already about my top 5. So my top 5 in no specific order, to be fair, and the video is already incredibly long. So of course, my top 5 needs to have Ambra Aurea, Sorriso. It needs also to have Patchouly. It needs to have, of course, Acqua di Sale. And now it's hard. Now it's very, very hard. I would say this one, Acqua Viva, because it's the best lemon in the game ever created. And I forgot about one fragrance. Oh my god, I forgot about one fragrance that it was here, and it is none other than Victrix. I didn't talk about this fragrance. Outrageous. So Victrix is a very unique fragrance. I wore this a lot. Actually, one of my favorite discoveries of this year. Victrix, and I wore this a lot during the summertime. I think it works wonderfully during the summertime. It has a major note of laurel, like bay leaf, and it's very aromatic, green, fresh, but with depth. You have this like oak wood in here with some pink pepper, and it's to die for. I love this one. This is very underrated from the brand. It's green, it's aromatic, it's a bit spicy, and it's cream summer. For some reason, it's cream summer for me. But it's so unique. It has a summery vibe into it. I would say it has like a sea breeze feel into it, with this aromatic green bay leaf with coriander and with this peppery oak wood. It's amazing. This is signature scent worthy, and I would say this is very, very elegant. I think this is very elegant, and you can use it during the entire year. Great performance. I prefer to wear this during the summertime. For some reason, for me, this has a summer breeze, like summer sea breeze into it, that I just think of summer, but I think you can wear this during the entire year. This is signature scent worthy. Victrix, highly, highly underrated. And now, yes, finishing the video. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you are familiarized with Profumum Roma. Also, let me know what are your favorites from the brand. And if you found value in this video, hit the like button, subscribe, check out all the other fragrance content that I have available. See you in the next one. Take care, guys.